Zealer's story chapter The Ash Beneath the Leaves. Zealer's journey to Emberpine Woods began early that morning. The sun had barely crested over the horizon when he set off, his sword strapped across his back, heart steady with purpose. But before he could venture too far, a figure appeared before him. It was a young adult, standing tall, with a certain coldness about him. He wore tattered blue robes, a cloak that looked like it had weathered many storms, and the air around him seemed to shimmer faintly with frost. Zealer halted, surprised. "You're Zealer, right?" the man asked, his voice calm and distant. "The one heading into the woods?" Zealer nodded, but before he could speak, the man introduced himself. "I'm Hadoukai. I've heard of you. An adventurer, I presume?" Zealer hesitated. "I am," he said. "Are you lost?" Hadoukai gave a small shrug. "Just passing through. I'm an ice wanderer, traveling. Can't say I'm familiar with this place, though. The heat's not exactly a welcoming." He gestured to the warmth in the air, the rising embers in the distance. "But it's not far off from where I've been." Zealer, ever the welcoming host, smiled and offered, "If you'd like, you're welcome to stay at my place while I'm on my mission. You seem like you could use some rest." Hadoukai gave him a brief, appreciative nod. "I'd be grateful." And so, the two of them traveled together, though they parted ways once they reached the outskirts of Emberpine Woods. Hadoukai would make camp on the edge, while Zealer pressed deeper into the heart of the forest to complete his quest. The forest itself felt like a contradiction alive with danger, yet strangely beautiful. The trees were scorched black, with deep redwood visible beneath the burned bark. The air was thick with embers, as if the trees were always smoldering. Sparks flew from every corner, and the ground seemed to glow with heat, making the forest feel alive with fire. Zealer stepped carefully, watching every step, knowing he was entering a place where flames ruled, and the ground itself was dangerous. Then, a crack. A twig snapped somewhere nearby. Zealer's hand instinctively tight and around his sword hilt. His senses were sharp, and his mind instantly went into alert mode. His eyes darted through the trees. A figure emerged. A Blazehound, its body like burning coal, dark and foreboding. The dog's fur was black, streaked with glowing red lines of fire that pulsed beneath its skin. It was no ordinary creature. Zealer instantly understood this beast was tied to the fire, like the very forest itself, and he knew instinctively not to use his fire attacks. The Blazehound growled low, smoke rising from its body. It took a single step forward before leaping at Zealer, its teeth flashing with heat. The beast's jaws clamped down on Zealer's arm. The pain wasn't overwhelming, his armor absorbed some of the blow, but the heat still stung like an iron burn. Zealer gritted his teeth. It was a quick, sudden attack, but he wasn't unprepared. Zealer yanked his sword from his back, swinging it with practiced precision. The composite blade slashed into the Blazehound's side, drawing a spray of ember-like blood. The creature recoiled, but it was far from finished. With renewed fury, the Blazehound lunged at Zealer again, sinking its teeth into his arm once more. This time, however, the bite didn't land with as much force. It was weaker. Zealer grinned through the pain. This was nothing like his last fight. The Blazehound was strong, but Zealer had something it didn't resolve. Despite the constant attacks, Zealer kept his footing. He quickly put his guard up, bracing for the next blow. The Blazehound's claws scraped across his armor again. The impact was absorbed, his stance held firm, and the guard protected him from the next strike. The Blazehound seemed to hesitate for a moment, but then it changed tactics. It swiped at Zealer's legs, claws raking through the air, trying to knock him off balance. But Zealer's guard held. It was an iron defense. Nothing could touch him. Zealer shifted his weight, preparing for the final move. His sword, still steady in his hands, flashed as he slashed one last time, cutting through the Blazehound's defense. The beast let out a low howl as it staggered back. Its body began to fade, the fire inside it extinguishing, its form dissolving into smoke and ash, blown away by the wind. But as it faded, Zealer noticed something fall from the creature's from a firestone. It glowed faintly, its heat still radiating as it hit the ground with a soft thud. Zealer stood still for a moment, breathing heavily. What just happened? He thought. The firestone was warm to the touch, but it didn't burn. He tucked it into his pouch carefully. He was confused, excited, and still trying to process the battle. Had he really done it? The Blazehound, the fire beast of Emberpine Woods, was defeated. He'd never faced something like that before. But somehow, he'd held his ground. Zealer made his way back towards the village, eager to return to Brogger and tell him everything. But there was something inside him that knew the journey wasn't over. He had taken his first step toward growth, toward becoming someone worthy of his father's legacy. And it wasn't just the Firestone that had him intrigued. It was the possibility of what might be waiting for him next.